Okay, I think everyone is here. Just to recheck, is the government here?
Yep, government's here.
Yep, government's here.
Opposition?
Yeah, everyone's here.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so the debate will start now. Let's start with PM here.
Okay,
I'll take my timer.
Okay. I'm the
Prime Minister of Side Government, and I'll start my speech in 3, 2,
Panel. Picture
Panel.
this. You're a part of the LGBTQ
You do
community.
what you love.
You do what you love. You do what you enjoy. You become who you are. But you're still not accepted into society because they think that you're different. Because why? Because they believe that they're not being educated enough. They're not being shown the bright side of the LGBTQ community. You'll forever be a part of the stigmatization, and you'll forever be discriminated. This is what side opposition's house will look like. First of all, the burden of proof of side government's house today is to prove to you why identity-based social movements is still better than other social movements, and why it is still better than preservation of this distinct culture and will bring more impact into social movements. First of all, I'll start with characterizations. First, I'll be providing on with 4 layers of characterization. First layer, we will set our parameter into Malaysia because we believe that it is just not worth to fight for legislative change or any law change that matters in Malaysia. Understand the fact that Malaysia is known for not accepting identity-based social movements because they believe that it is better for them to preserve a distinct culture, even if we keep pushing for the idea for people to accept identity-based social movements in Malaysia because the fact that people don't have any engagement or being educated about the brighter side of these social movements, it won't bring any impact into these social movements. And because of that, we have already won the clash of which side gives more impact into social movements. Because nobody knows about the existence of its status quo, and this will only happen on their side of the world. If they're just sitting there doing nothing, they believe that it is still better to preserve the culture at all and continue on with status quo. But look at what is happening now in status quo. Majority of the people in Malaysia aren't accepting the fact that social movements like LGBTQ community aren't accepting people who are part of LGBTQ communities because nobody is being educated about the existence of it or even the brighter side of it. Even if side opposition today comes out here to tell you about the culture beliefs in Malaysia and the policies that make people not being engaging with these social movements, and because of this, people will still not accept. And even if on our side of the world we are still trying to educate people, but we tell you that when we educate people, the majority of the people, and when we educate the majority of the people, and when majority of the people accepts the idea of it, but we tell you that because these political parties would want to win the elections, they will have to work towards the direction of understanding of the people. And because of this, even if they came out here and tell you religious political parties exist in status quo, it is still better on us and to work. Just understand the fact that these political parties are made up by normal people, and the normal people fully understand these ideas of these social movements and accept it would be something normal. So feasibility won't be a problem on our side of the house. Second layer, how does identity-based social movements look like? We believe that these are movements that are fighting for individual characteristics like skin color, sex, or even individual rights to choose. For example, LGBTQ community or women's rights to choose. It is something that is not being accepted or even being educated by majority of the people because of urbanization and because of cultural beliefs. And this will only forever happen on their side of the world because they're just sitting there doing nothing. They believe that today I'm a Muslim. It is still better for me to just believe what my ancestors believe, even if I'm living in the 21st century. The third layer of characterization, stakeholders. We believe that the main stakeholder today is general public because understand that in status quo, majority of the people aren't educated about the existence of it, even if they have the accessibility of social media platforms, which is why we are trying to change that in today's house. We're trying to engage with majority of the people. We're trying to engage with the general public it doesn't matter their age. We believe that it is something that would only make social movements have more impact in modern society. Third layer, fourth layer. How does our side look like? We believe that our side is working for organic change. It is still better in the long run because it is
sustainable.
We believe that by planting these roots into the people's heart, when people have a better understanding, if people will accept it, even if the culture the traditional beliefs tells them no, you cannot believe it, because people know the brighter side of it, because people have urbanized education about it, people understand it, people will accept it.
Next,
We tell you that society is changing. Even if they come up here and tell you that preservation of distinct culture
will still play
an important role in Malaysia. We tell you that society is changing, and we believe that it needs to change. Because let's say 50 years ago, nobody would believe that men would be kissing men or women turning into men because they feel like they want to. Because understand that society is changing because of social media, because of other stuff, other reasons, and people will have to slowly understand that because of these things, it will change. It is time that we accept it. If we push the time for people to accept it into some time further away from us, when more and more people becomes a part of these social movements, communities, it will be harder to make the change. Because understand that in status quo in Malaysia, we have a lot of religious extremists that are trying to influence people to tell them, no, you cannot be part of these social movements. If this happens, it will only happen in opposition side of the world, because they're just letting these religious extremists to influence more and more people and to tell people that it is wrong. But we believe that it's fully people's rights to choose, and we believe that it is time that we make a change. Pure I accepted.
Alright, you say that society is continuously changing and you say that people are going to continue to change. Are you saying that you're willing to trade off our personal identity for this change? Are you saying that you do not care about identity and you just want to let people's opinions matter more? Do you not think that you're subjecting to societal discrimination with this?
We believe that cultural identity is something that is important, but we believe that it needs a change. We understand the fact that there are people outside that wouldn't want to make the change, but we believe that it is because it is still for the betterment of the country as a whole. Next, I'll get into my arguments, which would explain your POI. Our first argument is that we are trying to overcome stereotypes and discrimination. Because understand that focusing on the acceptance of the majority of the population helps to challenge these stereotypes and these discriminations and combat prejudice associated with particular identity. By actively engaging with the majority and helps this majority to understand identity-based social movements, it can break down stereotypes and so on. This interaction can lead to reduce bias and so on. So even if side opposition tells you that people would lose their identity, we tell you that it is still for the betterment, because at least people who want to be who they are, because people who want to be who they are wouldn't face constant discrimination or wouldn't face constant negative comments from society. And because of that, I'm proud to propose.
Okay, I thank you, Prime Minister. Now let's move on to Leader of Opposition. Here.
Thai government believes that acceptance can help us more than preservation can, but unfortunately they are wrong. Proud to oppose. Now to begin my speech, I'm going to state the burden for my side of the House. We do not want negligence because of the lack of preservation. Thai government wants to prioritize acceptance, when frankly acceptance does not bring much to us on our side. Preservation allows us to protect our identity, which is why we have these movements in the first place. Given the context that acceptance equals no obvious benefit, it also brings in more harm than good. Examples. losing the cultural identity of these minorities, future generation in the movement will only think about the main face of the movement, not the minorities' culture, which leads to losing their roots. Here's why it's true. By using the main group as the total face of the movement, it's not good because you cover up the minorities and leave no room to let them show their cultural differences. This can also be defined as suppression and oppression because you basically suppress these minorities from getting any recognition. For example, you claim that Malaysia does not have much acceptance, but recently, thanks to social media, Malaysian citizens do accept. The fact that some people still do not accept us is proof of itself that prioritization of acceptance is useless and frankly can never be fully achieved. Here's why it's important. With context of such movements, having a main face is it's not to target the minorities' individual and specific needs. For example, gay people are the main faces of LGBTQ plus movement today. Thus, everyone stereotypes gay people as rainbow high-pitched speaking males or women who wear binders and have short hair. But what happens to the others, such as feminine women who are also lesbian, masculine gay people? How do they feel? Unaccepted, because they have to endure the misrepresentation and generalization of greater movement, and it's not like they can revolt because their identity was literally taken away from them. They're just going to look like some minority with little to no importance in a greater movement.
POI. When you accepted, right?
Overcoming. No. Okay, to overcome stereotypes, your side only fits into stereotypes more. Because you're so obsessed with other people's opinions, which will be further elaborated more on in my speech. And losing identity equals for betterment. No, it is not. No, it is not. Our identity is what makes us a movement in the first place. The fact that you're not seeing this, the fact that you want to lose ourselves for other people's opinion. Side government, please wake up and see how flawed this mindset is. Go to the next line after this. Then, oh wait, no. Your side only wants people to accept us, but you do not want us to be accepted. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor, this is why today's motion should fall. Oppose.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Now let's move on to Deputy Prime Minister here.
Am I audible?
Loud and clear.
Alright, nice. So, timekeeper, I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Side opposition has been very bold with their statement today, and I will begin my speech by pointing out some of the flaws and issues that they've brought onto the table that I believe are flawed. Now, first of all, side opposition came up and told us that acceptance brings no benefit. And I will address this in my first point, stating why is it important that we have social movements and what do social movements mean? Second of all, they come up here and tell you that losing, that by supporting and accepting these identity-based social movements and accepting them into our society, we'll be losing our roots and losing culture, which I will analyze later in my second point and tear down by proving to you that there is absolutely no question between identity, between someone's identity and the preservation of culture. And anyone who thinks so comes from a place of ignorance. Thirdly, they tell you that acceptance equates misrepresentation. I think it is so funny because the whole point of acceptance is for people to understand that there's more sides to one story and that there's many different kinds of and that there are different and there's so many different types of identities in the world, and then the whole point of it is to accept all of them at the same time and view everyone as equals. Now, moving on to my point. First of all, why do we have social movements, right? Social movements exist as a sign to tell society that we need to change, right? People come out of the closet to partake in these social movements, right? So it is already a trend that we see that many people will inevitably come out and fall into these these minority categories, right? They will come out and identify as an identity. Yeah. So it is evident then how that in the future society will have to accept these changes. They will have to accept that these people are coming out of their shell and they're falling into all these different categories. And we as a society have to adapt and change to accommodate their needs. All right. This is the whole point that we have social movements and why acceptance is very crucial in our society. What do we mean by that, right? Because we understand that rejected. I'll open time for POI later. We accept that in places, right, people are living in fear. They're living in fear of their identity, right? For example, let's look at Black people in America. They're being heavily discriminated upon, right? Now let's look at LGBTQ people in like Islamic countries where LGBTQ is like obviously haram in a sense. So we can see that these people are facing discrimination due to harmful stereotypes, right? And where do these harmful stereotypes come from? It comes from this lack of acceptance, right? And we're telling you that this lack of acceptance can be solved with education, which is our whole point, right? Our whole policy is just stating that education can change and lead to more acceptance and more acceptance. And acceptance is something that is crucial to the society because people like that already exist. So like this is by antagonizing them and taking them out of the equation, it literally does nothing in a sense, right? Which is like what's happening inside opposition's house. Now, second of all, identity does not clash with culture. Let's look at what identity-based social movements they are, right? For example, there's the LGBTQ movement, right? There's the Black Lives Matter movement. These social movements literally does not clash with a distinct culture of like, or like the traditions of races or like the culture of a country or things like that. They do not clash. And people who see those clashes are just people who refuse to let go of their traditional views and their traditional thinking. We think that people who see these clashes comes from a place of ignorance. It comes from a place of lack of education. So at the end of the day, all of it just leads to like how there's this lack of education and our society does lack of acceptance, right? Now, so my PM already did an amazing job in proving why having education in our society is beneficial, right? To lead to acceptance, because we believe that in having organic change, which is like by changing what people think, how people view something through more organic means such as education, compared to the alternative, which is to fight for legislative changes, right? For the law to change. We feel that it is better for society to have to promote these social movements by prioritizing acceptance, because fighting for government like legislative changes is a short-term solution to something that is so huge. We believe that having organic change, which is a long-term effect and the better alternative to legislative change, we believe that it is more beneficial in the long run. Because when we are to provide education, when we are to provide education to something and tell them that what you're thinking, like your view of this group of people, this minority categories, are just harmful stereotypes. What you believe they are is just like something that is being taught to you through a traditional point of view. And we can see already that throughout history, that traditional views does not immediately equate being right, right? For example, let's look at the history of the use of disinfectants, right? When the who was it? When the person who came out with disinfectants used them on the soldiers for a world war, it was rejected by the whole of the world because they thought it was like witchcraft and things like that. But like let's look at like 20, 30 years down the line when when the idea of modern medicine is more accepted in the society, right? How much help and how much benefit did it bring to society as a whole? Huge, right? It completely changes the way, completely changes the medical field and how surgeries are supposed to go. So we can already see that by having this education, by teaching people acceptance, the majority will accept these and understand that what their views of these categories comes from a place of ignorance, and they will change. And when majority of the people change, right, the government will be forced by the majority's ideas to change as well. Because also note that on another level of analysis is that the government is also made up of members of society. So when members of society, there's a change in mindset in the members of society, there's this change in the government and society as a whole. So at the end of the day, very proud to propose. Thank you.
I thank you, the DPM. Now let's move on to the DLO. Here.
What side government does not understand is that this motion is on the acceptance of the majority. When you want the majority to accept us, you have to understand that what will consequent from this is that we're going to be looked at from a narrow mind. Ladies and gentlemen, opposed. First off, let's look at their points and why it's flaws. They say that on our side, people live in fear and that people like these minorities already exist. Yes, they already exist. You continuously repeat that social movements is identity. When you're so insistent on being accepted, you must understand that the majority, white people and straight people, they cannot truly see us. You have to understand this and the fact you do not prove that your case can fall.
Accepting it doesn't
Education
necessarily mean
is
that you're going to be
beneficial.
someone who doesn't have
Yes,
cultural
it's
identity.
beneficial,
There are
but
Muslims
it
out there
shouldn't
that
be a
accept
priority
being
if we are going to lose
nice.
ourselves. To lose what we are.
What?
To lose what we are? What is the point? We're fighting an empty. You're fighting an empty argument. The reason we need acceptance is for. The reason we need acceptance is for people to accept who we are. If we lose who we are, we are nothing. Now I'll be moving on to my arguments. My first argument, acceptance doesn't bring much. Prioritizing acceptance has little benefits towards us. Why? A majority may tolerate us, but we will never truly be accepted or nor understood. Even though we concede to the fact that we do not need to be accepted, it should not be a priority. There is always going to be a fraction that will hate us and try to take us down. Therefore, we need to prioritize preservation because preservation can actually bring benefit to us. Furthermore, acceptance only forces us to fit inside a societal mold, and it leaves us with no room for self-identity, which will be clarified in my speech later. We know that people think that we are different, and yes, we are, but is that a bad thing? As a human, we are all different. Again, acceptance can still grow on our side, but it will only grow slower. Side government. what you want to do is you want to get us to be accepted. We understand, however, acceptance exists on our side as well. It just grows on a slower rate, which we are willing to sacrifice because of the importance of preserving our identity, which I will be moving on to now. Our identity is way more important. Future generations will lose their roots. This is because if future generations were to grow up knowing a movement just because of a main group, they will obviously lose their own identity and start to align with that main group instead. With this, they will forget their own roots, and with enough time, the unique and special culture that comes from that minority is gone. Therefore, site government, your site cannot achieve this for us because you're so obsessed with acceptance from people that will never be able to fully understand us. On our side, we want to preserve our self-identity. We want to create a community that the younger generation can grow into. We want them to know that they are normal and that whoever they are still people in the end. On site government side, they only prioritize the big face of the certain minority, a certain community, a certain movement. Their narrow-mindedness is frankly concerning because they claim to care for these people, but all they are no, thank you. Because they claim to care for these people, but all they are doing is just neglecting their identity and their personality. Therefore, please oppose. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, DLO. Now let's move on to government with you here.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I will start in 3, 2, 1. Opposition is so ignorant. Their whole case is trying to tell us that we are going to wipe out people's culture. Well, since when did we tell you that's going to happen? Why do you assume that when people accept identities, their culture is wiped? There is no mutual exclusivity for either. They can coexist in government's world. When people accept people's identities, their culture is still existent in status quo. Also, we are prioritizing identity at this point as culture identities is something that's already been accepted for a long time. So, government opposition, your entire case falls because you are just trying to push that we are trying to wipe out people's identities, cultural identities, but it is already present in status quo, and there is nothing which we said that will wipe out the identities, or there's no proof you have given us on why our case wipes out people's identities when we are just trying to push for their identity. And then if you want to say that we are trying to wipe out people's identities, no, we are just trying to make sure that they don't die from hate crimes. We are trying to make sure that they're accepted in society so that they don't get left out, or they don't get left out in society. And then you say over acceptance can't happen. Yes, that's true. But do you really want society to be a standstill? Do you want everybody to just focus on something that happened so long ago? Do you want these people to not be accepted in society? I don't think we really want that in status quo and in government's world. And then your entire case, when you just say that we are wiping out people's identity, there's another reason why it's untrue. Because when these cultural identities already exist in status quo, people when people are pushed to accept their identities, there is still the existence of this, which has already been there for such a long time. So your entire case falls. No. Okay, now the first clash, majority acceptance versus preservation of culture. Preservation of culture does not matter when people still don't know what to think of you, when you are something strange and foreign to them, and they cannot be pushed to accept what are radical values to them. You must understand that we concede that preservation is important, but so is acceptance. The reason why acceptance is more important in this debate because it gives you utility to a larger number of people. It does not matter if you're a gay person, a person's identity is wholly accepted. Maybe some people are not accepted, or straight people don't know the full long history of pride. But at least these people can live to see another day. Furthermore, the preservation of culture also does not matter when people in your community see that their identity is being shunned. they'll also start to question. They also start to question it and be ashamed, and they want to hide it. So this is why acceptance is more important right now. And as I've told you before, cultural identity already exists in status quo, so it's just not worth it trying to further push cultural identity when it is at a stable point in status quo. Acceptance is more important. Do not try to push things with the mainstream community, because that is not good for the safety of the people you're trying to protect. And then now the next thing, can acceptance be achieved without sacrificing preserving your culture? Side government says no for these reasons. One, people cannot be pushed to accept things that are foreign to them. There has to be some compromise. And if you still want to push cultural identity is something that people in status quo already accept. So don't try to push it any further. Yes.
Alright, just because cultural identity exists, it does not mean that people accept it. It does not mean that people understand it. You have to understand that these straight white people do not fully understand us and do not fully see us. Therefore, when they see us, right, they see us through a narrow mind and through narrow eyes. So what is your rebuttal to this?
When you say white people can't understand us, is that what you said?
So that white people and straight people cannot fully understand us and cannot fully see us.
Okay, well, first and foremost, this is completely out of the parameter of this debate. You're talking about some random people that can't understand our culture. Well, this is a big world. Are you going to understand every single culture in the world? No. The opposition, think a little bit more. There's so many cultures in this world. You can't accept every single thing. We are trying to focus on regional acceptance. We have never preached for global domination. What are you on? For example, radicals left policies like socialism is not widely accepted in the US, but other left policies like labor unions are. This is because they are not radical enough, so they can still be accepted by the widespread community. And even if you achieve acceptance, it is way slower and not worth it, because you are just trying to take the longer route. Why can't we preserve what is already happening in status quo and try to push for something different so that a majority stakeholder can be benefited? Before I continue, any POIs? 3, 2, 1. Lack of engagement. Okay, yes.
Alright, the fact that you say we cannot accept all cultures, does it not contradict yourself? Does it not prove that acceptance should not be prioritized? Because in the end, we cannot accept everything. Shouldn't preservation, shouldn't identity be preserved so that the youngsters, they can feel safer, and so that the youngsters, they can feel like they can be who they are and they do not have to fit in society's narrow box?
Oh my goodness, what is opposition on? Of course, right? This is a large world of 8 billion people. There is no time in any world where we can accept everything in the world and know about everything in the world. Just focus on your regional priorities. Which one gets the job done more? Of course, our side, because we are pushing for something that is not currently accepted, instead of trying to continue to push something that is already accepted in status quo. Why do you want to push for global acceptance? Just focus on your own region. And with that, I have one last thing to say. Preserving cultural identity still happens in government's world. We are not wiping it out. In fact, we are adding identity, acceptance of people's identity to our side. Thank you.
Thank you, Government Whip. Now let's move on to Opposition Whip here.
Alright, am I audible?
Yep.
Alright, thank you. So I'll be beginning my speech in 3, 2, and 1. Side government's delusion and lack of understanding is exactly what is going to cause today's debate. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 simple aspects I'm going to be laying in my speech today that will definitely convince you to side with side opposition. Firstly, I'm going to state the fatal flaws that side government has made that have caused them today's debate. Secondly, I'm going to make a quick summary, and thirdly, I'm going to weigh both sides of the house. Now, first of all, 4 observations that I have made. First of all, side government is way too focused on other people's opinions on us. Frankly, right, like you said, like the government whip has said, oh, this world is so big, there's so many people. Right, so why does everyone's opinions matter? Even if we're looking at the region only, 30 million people. Are you going to expect all 30 million to understand? Are you going to expect good opinions from all 30 million of them? No, you're not. It's not, I don't think it's 1 minute yet, so no. Alright. Alright, on their side, right, they're being delusional. They're looking at such a small picture, and they're claiming to understand us. They're claiming to like, oh, we're gonna help with identity. No, you are not. You do not understand that society is so narrow-minded. You do not understand that this majority, right, this let's say straight people, right? Because you're talking about regional, so I'm not gonna talk about white people. So these people, right, do you think they're going to fully see our identity? No. Look at us. Look at the gay people. What are we perceived as? We're perceived as, deep voiced women. Women who wear binders. Women who have no boobs because we're masculine. Or men that take, they take medication to look more feminine, that, wear makeup, blah, blah, blah. Do you not think that that is stereotypical? Your side is talking about how you want to fight stereotypes, when frankly, you're only feeding to them. You're only submitting to society's discrimination. Secondly, their side only strives for short-term benefits without looking at the bigger picture. Yes, you claim that your side strives for long-term benefits when you do not. In the long term, right, what you're going to do is you're going to cause these movements to fall because you do not preserve anything. You're not, I'm so sorry. Right, you do not help us at all. You don't make these movements what movements are, right? As a movement, right, we are striving to be looked at as what we are. We want to be looked at as our identity, right? Because let's say the LGBTQ plus movement, there's so many aspects to it. There's gay people, there's lesbians, there's transgender people, and there's non-binary people. When you strive, when you prioritize acceptance, right, what you're doing, right, is going to force everyone to look at us from a box. Because again, these are narrow-minded people that cannot truly fully understand the depth of us. Now, third observation, they claim that, on our side, we will never say that, on our side, we never say that identity will be gone. They claim that their side, they can preserve identity. Well, frankly, you never said it because you're in denial. Look at society right now. Look at TikTok and look at Instagram. How do you think, these minorities, let's say gay people, right? They are perceived as such a, stereotype. They're perceived as, women are masculine, men are feminine. When they see a feminine lesbian, when they see a masculine gay person, what do they think? They're like, oh, they're definitely faking their gayness. They're definitely pretending to be gay. How do you think these people feel? How do you think they feel? Are they being accepted? No, they are not. Therefore, your side is going to backfire on itself, and your side is going to fall. Status quo in of itself right now, right, on social media, status quo right now proves in of itself that their side should fall. Now, last observation, their side frankly makes no sense. They claim that we can never accept all cultures and we'll never be able to accept everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, they are striving for acceptance and they say themselves that they cannot have it. What are they doing? What are they on? State government, what is your goal? You frankly have no goal right now. And right now, right, what it seems like to us is that you're just spewing nonsense out of your brains because you cannot think of anything to support this motion because you deep down know that this motion should indeed fall. Now, before I move on to the second aspect of my speech, is there any POI? 5, 4, 3.
POI.
Yeah.
Alright. Don't you think it's contradictory when you tell us that you cannot preach about an acceptance of something, then say you might lose the identity throughout the process? Like, isn't it contradictory?
I'm so sorry you spoke so fast. I couldn't catch anything, but what I did catch is that, can you say it again, please? I'm so sorry you speak so fast.
Okay. So, you said that when we preach about acceptance of something, we might lose our identity in the process. Can you explain how that works?
Well, it's not you might lose. You are going to lose it. Look at status quo right now. Open Instagram, open TikTok. Okay, look at it right now, right? We are accepting gay people right now, right? As on TikTok, Instagram, the LGBTQ plus community is being normalized. That's awesome. That's amazing. We love that. But however, the identity is being lost. LGBTQ plus movement, right? It's no longer a rainbow, right? People are only seeing the orange flag and the green gay flag. They're not seeing the whole rainbow anymore. They're not seeing the whole picture anymore. They're only looking at us through 2 aspects: gay people and lesbian people. Why? Because again, these people, they cannot never fully understand understand us. Yes, they may understand us at some point. They may understand that we have these feelings and we cannot control them. But what else can they understand? How else can they see us? They cannot. Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, on our side, we strive for preservation more than acceptance, because we know that acceptance, in the end, it's not going to benefit much for us. Yes, it does bring benefits. That's why on our side it still grows, only at a slower rate. And this is a trade-off that we are willing to make in order to preserve our identity. Because like what they said, right? This is what these movements are for. Identity. We want to preserve ourselves and who we are, right? Okay. If you look at Malaysia, right, let's look at the Dayak people. When you think of Dayak people, what do you think? Oh, you're just gonna call them Dayaks. But in reality, it's like, oh, there's Bidayus, there's Ibans, so on and so forth. Therefore, you know, I'm so sorry. Therefore, this in of itself, right, says correct now, the fact that Malaysian people, they only see Dayak people or Bumi Putera people as just Bidayu and Iban, proves that acceptance is frankly not really achievable and therefore should not be prioritized. Yes, acceptance should be there, but it should not be a priority. It should be something that grows naturally, and it should be something that just grows within time, within change. Because what we want to do, right, is we want to protect our identity first, because we know that acceptance, it will never truly happen and it will never truly be achieved. Now, let's summarize their side, right? So on their side, they continuously talk about how, oh, we need to be accepted so that society can see us better. But frankly, they're not going to see us better. They're not going to do anything, right? Okay. Again, let's take a look at social media, which is one of the biggest platforms right now, right? So like I'm so sorry, I'm not feeling well today. Alright. So on their side of the house, they continue to preach about how their side wants acceptance so that we can, so that acceptance can add on to, identity preservation. It does not. It has been proven so many times. In fact, it has been proven in 3 speeches that it cannot happen. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, acceptance is frankly rather redundant, and acceptance should be something that is natural, should be something that grows at its own rate. However, on our side, right, what we want to do is we want to let acceptance be a natural occurrence. We want to let people slowly see who we are, okay, which is again something that we are willing to trade off. We're willing to trade the rate of acceptance if we're able to protect our identity, because as a movement, as this movement exists, right, what we strive for, what we want is we want to be seen. Okay, we do not frankly need everyone to sort of like, oh, I love gay people, oh, I love this community, I love this community. That is not what we want. We just want them to be like, yes, I know this community, and they're there. That's it, right? All right. Now, before I move on to the last aspect of my speech, this is the last POL that I'll be accepting. So, are there any?
Time's up.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. So on their side, right, they can only strive for short-term. They can only strive for short-term benefits, and they cannot truly achieve anything. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, side with side opposition. Let's make this motion fall, because frankly, this motion has no benefits for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, opposition whip. Let's hear the replies coming from opposition first. Here.
Give me a minute. My internet's fighting with me right.
Sure. Whenever you're ready.
The members of side government have full potential to become a politician if politicians' job were to ignore the well-being of the people. Ladies and gentlemen, they continue to preach out about acceptance and acceptance, although we have proved that acceptance grows on our side too. We proved that acceptance can be a natural thing, and we do not need to prioritize it. They are being ignorant and claiming it's okay to lose identity when it is not. Our goal in the first place as a movement is to preserve identity, is to be who we are. Their side is so repetitive and given us such empty and contradicting points. What is their goal? Their side has continuously contradicted themselves and shut down the point of a movement in the first place. Therefore, oppose.
Okay, thank you. Opposition reply. Now let's call upon government reply to close the debate here.
Okay.
The reply for government, and I'll start my speech in 3.
After debate,
let's see what's the main clash in debate and what's the standing after debate.
We believe that the main clash in this debate is cultural identity or trying to accept it, which is more important. We have 5 responses. First response. We had already told you that we fully accept the fact that cultural identity is important. Second response. Even if people accept the existence of social movements, it doesn't necessarily mean that people will just be separated from that cultural identity. Their whole case is just coming up here to tell you that Muslims accepting gays aren't going to be Muslims anymore. But understand that there are Muslims out there that accept being around gays or accept having gays as their good friends. But as long as they don't become someone who is gay, they're not breaking their cultural identity. I am a Buddhist. A lot of Buddhists believe that we should be vegan because they believe that eating animals is bad. But I eat meat. It doesn't mean that I'm not a Buddhist anymore. I'm still a Buddhist, yet I still eat meat. Third response. They tell you all sorts of reasons why we should stick back to our roots. We're not trying to clarify that we are not trying to wipe out their identities. We're just trying to help these people that are actually part of the LGBT movement to be part of society. They come up here to assume that our world looks like everyone being gay, but because they accept being around with people of gay. But no, we're just teaching people to accept that these movements exist and to accept that these people are part of the community and to not keep them out of society like how they want to do it in their side to work. Their response. They tell you all sorts of reasons why we should follow what our culture represents and not be what you actually want to be. First of all, they're prioritizing people's cultures over people's rights to choose. They believe that people shouldn't have the rights to choose because of their cultural beliefs. Fourth response. They come up here to assume that we will be in a world where everyone is simply nobody and there's nothing to represent them. First of all, we're just teaching people to accept the other ones who are trying to very hard to be themselves, yet they're still being kicked out of society. We're trying to educate people to accept these people and at the same time giving these people a chance to represent themselves even if they're being kicked out for their mutual exclusivity. We meet the interests of the people who are a part of a sensitive individual-based social movements like the LGBTQ movement, for example, because at least we're trying to resolve the stereotype and the stigmatization that is going against them, and this is something that won't be on their side to work, because their side to work is just they are willing to trade off these stigmatization that these minorities suffer over cultural identity. Even if we have claimed this mutual exclusivity, we're still benefiting the general public more because of two things. Because of one thing, we are trying to unite everyone together. Because on their side of the world, they just love watching religious extremists bullying gays. They just love watching everyone going against everyone because everyone wants to become who they are. They come up here to tell you that cultural beliefs is just being someone It's just people. Oh no.
Because majority of
Even if we understand the fact that there are people outside that may become something that goes against their cultural beliefs, but at the end of the day, it will only happen to the minority because majority of the people will still be someone who is normal and follow their roots, and that we are willing to trade this off because at the end of the day, these minorities who choose to be themselves will be at least be accepted as a part of society, and on their side of the world, this won't be legitimate because they believe that it's worth trading off people being themselves and being bullied by others in a daily basis because others don't accept them over being able to represent their culture identity. Our worst case is that at the end of the day, there are people that might forget their roots, but at least they become someone who they enjoy being with. They become someone who they want to be with, who they want to be without facing any negative comments. But their best case is that these people will still be represented as the cultural identity, but they're still being bullied on a daily basis. And because of this, they're causing more chaos into modern society, and that it is already a clear win for side government. Proud to propose.
Okay, that ends today's debate. Now give me 5 minutes to deliberate, then I'll get back to you guys.
I think we'll have to start a new link.
Sure, just send the link in the
Okay.
in the chat, then I'll enter it while being muted. Okay, yeah, see you later.